So if you hand load and you reload more specifically, in other words, you're reloading a brass casing that you fired already, you might have seen people referring to bumping their shoulders back by a thou. Now, I'll be honest, when I started in this wonderful hobby of ours, and I was reading online, like people are bumping their shoulders back by 1 thou, I had no idea what they were saying, okay? The thou thing was a throw off, or like sort of put me off immediately because we use centimeters and things like that in South Africa. Nonetheless, in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. It's not rocket science. Don't overthink this. Now, if you guys like this video, I've got a complete online reloading course. The details for that is down below, and I'm going to have a little coupon here for you. We've put over 1,000 students through that course. We've had 1 refund, so people are extremely happy with the course. So make sure you guys check that out. Anyway, without further ado, I've got 3 6-dasher cases here. Now they haven't been cleaned, which is really not the end of the world. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my lappie, okay, which was our Afrikaans word of the day in a previous episode, spray some alcohol on it, and literally just wipe these guys down. And the reason you want to do that, obviously in a normal sort of circumstance, I would tumble my brass first, but the reason I'm just going to wipe off the outside is because you don't want anything, you know, stuck on your case when you're going to lube up your case and basically reform it in a die. Okay, a dirty case is just, it's a recipe for disaster. So just make sure your cases are clean, but that is literally all we're going to do for the sake of this episode, just to have them clean on the outside. I will still clean these on the inside. Now, you're also going to need a set of calipers. Now, I use the high precision in-size model. Now, I was also one of those guys that sort of, you know, when you get into this reloading thing, it's expensive, right? So initially I bought like a super cheap pair of calipers and they failed often. The one day I was so demoeden, which is our new Afrikaans word of the day, but I'm going to leave the guys in the comments to explain that term to you, that I ended up taking those calipers and they exploded, let's just put it that way. The numbers were jumping up and down randomly, it was terrible. Okay, so invest in, if you're going to reload, in a good set of calipers. Okay, the digital ones are nice, and I'll show you guys why, because you can actually zero them out and then do small little measurements. So the other thing you're going to need is a Headspace Comparator. Now that's basically this guy, and it's going to clamp onto your digital calipers like so. Okay, it's very easy to do. Let's make some more space there for me. And this little thumb screw is going to put it in there. Now when you buy the set, I use the Hornady set, they actually tell you which cases need which comparator body for. Now I just take a Sharpie and I write which case I use which one for, and then you don't have to look them up the whole time. It just makes it easier if you're reloading for multiple cases. Now we want to get our baseline measurement, and to do that I'm going to make sure it doesn't really matter actually what this thing says. We're going to put our case in. It's also worth noting, if you're shooting a hot load, you will be able to see if that primer is pushing on your caliper and not actually on the base of your case. Now I like to hold it up to a light, and we've obviously got that with the studio lights, and I can see my primer is nice and level with the back of my case. I'm going to hit 0 on my calipers now, and we have a set of zeroed out calipers. Now pop my case in here. We're going to lube it just now, bear with me, and I quickly need to install a die. So let me back the 0 thing off. I'm going to make some space for you guys so you can see where we're working here. Clock this guy back up. There we go. And I'm quickly going to grab those dies, which are over here. Okay, now very important, I use a full length bushing die. Okay, the bushing basically means it goes into the top here, and then you can control your neck tension, but we're obviously going to manipulate our neck tension a little bit with our expander mandrel. But just to show you guys, oops, there is a bushing in there. It is a little bit stuck, but anyway, bushing goes in there. I'm running on the 6-dasher 266 bushing, if that helps anybody. Shooting the poor brass with burger bullets. Okay, let's get that up, nice like that. You don't want to over crank that, and we're gonna pop this guy in. I'm gonna get my die relatively close there, and get back to our case and put a little bit of lube on. Now this is one of those cases where a little bit of lube goes a long way. If you overdo it with the lube, okay, yeah, you will actually hurt the shoulder of the case. In other words, it'll almost have like deformities in it, and if you've ever seen that, your die was either really dirty or you had way too much lube on. So I usually like to do lube on the outside like this, just really quickly, and then whatever sort of left on my finger, I rub sort of in the case mouth like that, because just now when I expand there's a little bit of lube, and I'm still going to clean that case. I'm just going to grab my luffy and get that off. Guys, nothing sucks more than getting a case stuck in your die. So if you feel it's tight going in, don't go all the way, rather come out, add a little bit more lube, check to see if there's any obstruction in your die. Also, dies are expensive, so if you do somehow rip off, because what generally happens is if you try and get it out, you rip the rim off the case. Dan sien jy moeilikheid. Okay, pop that guy over in there. And now we did zero our calipers out. Our calipers are still zeroed out, and we're going to feel that case go in. Now we should be able to see, I can actually see on the case that we're just starting to move on the neck. Now importantly, you have to realize this. As this brass is going into the die, it's going to start touching, sort of, let's use this portion of my hand as sort of the neck, shoulder region, okay? As that, I'm going to exaggerate this, but as the case is going in, the die is going to start pushing on the bottom here. So initially, your measurement is going to go up. Remember, we're looking for minus 0.001 or maximum 0.002. If you want to do hunting stuff, maybe go 0.003 or something like that. Okay, so your case is going to go longer initially. So let's measure that again. Boom. Okay, immediately, I've basically gained a thou already, so we can adjust our die some more. Now, initially, you can make big-ish turns. Let's see where we are. I think we're quite a way off still, but I'd rather start off and sort of build up to it than, you know, overdo the first one and then all of a sudden, you know, you've bumped your shoulder back by 10 thou, and you don't want to do that because you can't undo that. Well, you can by shooting it, but it kind of defeats the purpose. Okay, we need to go a little bit more. All I'm doing is I'm doing like, I don't know, maybe a quarter turn at a time here initially. Okay. Sizing and checking it again, making sure that I'm measuring in the same spot. So we're still about a thou higher. Okay. I'm going to start doing smaller turns because I know I'm getting closer. Okay, just like that, there we have it. So I'm going to come over to you guys so you can see. So there we go, you can see our measurement is minus 1 thou, and it's literally as easy as that. Now what I do generally in this case, I pop that case back in, excuse the pun, run the ramp up, and when it's at the top there, I'm going to pull my locking ring, and now you can actually adjust this locking ring. If you've got the ram down, the die is not actually going to turn, just the locking ring is going to turn by itself. And I'm going to lock that guy off. Just double check that we are still good to go over here. Okay, boom, hunky dory. And now I'm gonna run my next case. Put some lube on it once again, like that. Okay. Okay, double check that guy once again. Boom. And I mean, we're off to the races. So that is literally all you have to do. Start adjusting your die a little bit at a time. Once you hit that mark, lock it off, and then lube your cases, run them all through. And I would maybe spot check every now and again, maybe every 10th one or so, just double check your measurement, but then you should be off to the races. Now, something that's very important here is that if you're shooting new brass, remember brass is going to flow, right? So as it explodes basically in your chamber, it's going to hit the sides of your chamber and form to the new chamber. Now, every time you fire your brass, it'll change a little bit more to the exact dimensions of your chamber. So you don't want to set up your sizing die, the one we've just done, the full length sizing die. You don't want to set that die up and leave it. If you are within, I don't know, let's say your first 5 times that you fired the same lot of brass. Okay, so after 5 times, you're probably going to be relatively close where you could leave your die. But even if you left it, every time you come back to reload the same lot of brass, just nudging it off a tiny little bit for the first 1 or 2, okay, making sure just adjusting, just getting that first one set up where you have the exact right amount of bump, lock it off, you're good to go. It's so little effort, it should take like less than a minute just to get that bump spot on. But initially, if you're going to leave your die set up after the very first time you set your bump and you keep shooting that brass, probably going to overwork your brass. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I want to thank our partners at Modular Driven Technologies for sponsoring today's episode. They've also recently relaunched their website, so if you haven't been on mdttac.com in a while, make sure you swing by. Guys, let me know if this is helpful to you. I certainly would have enjoyed a video like this when I was initially getting into reloading, so I hope this helps one of you. Don't overwork your brass. Eventually, if you size your brass too much, it's going to start getting case head separation, which is what you see and I'll show you guys an image of that, which is basically what you see when the bottom of your case starts breaking off from the top section. And this is bad, especially if it happens during a match and you can't get the front piece, because basically all you're going to do is extract the back. The rest is going to sit in your chamber and it's not fun. So avoid that. Just set up your dies properly. Guys, please do me a favor and share this video. And again, I have a complete online reloading course filled with stuff like this, way better filmed than today's episode. I had more people helping me film it, getting close-ups of everything. It's super slick. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next episode. I'm going to do the rest of my brass now. Bye.